Well, I don't know if you remember in another video that we sold Mikey's tractor, but my buddy Mike is now on the Sawmill down here at Buckley. So we're gonna go check him out and check the Sawmill out, so I hope you enjoy. That's Mike up with Justin as governor right now.
Hey, go and shut it down.
Why he's adjusting the governor is kind of critical because they want the sawmill to run at a certain speed. And Mikey just built this engine with a brand new boiler and reassembled everything. So we got to adjust the governor either up or down to get the correct speed to run the blade on the mill. So that's what they're doing right now. They're getting everything adjusted so we can cut some lumber. That is actually not the governor. The governor's up there. He was just up there. Just so you guys don't get confused, that is the connecting rod that's attached to the crank. So after you build an engine, all the babbitt kind of wears in and settles. So after you run it a bit, you'll have to take the slack out and tighten them back up so it doesn't knock. So that's what Mike's doing right now. You want to make sure your engine is ready when you're on this mill. It takes a lot of power, a lot of steam to run this mill because they run the mill end and edger. And there's a big line shaft inside to run many different engines on this. So a lot of moving parts in there. It takes a lot of power to run the mill, so you want to be ready.
No problem, don't hurry.
The mill gave Mike a signal that they were ready, and Mike gave one toot to let him know that he is going to fire the engine up, and that'll start everything spinning inside the mill. Everybody inside the mill is getting ready. Mike's engine's running. Put a little bit more water in the boiler right here. We'll give a few pulls on the mill out here by the engine. We'll listen to the engine work a little bit, and then we will jump inside and we'll check everything else out. We're calling this video Logs to Lumber, and you'll see why in just a minute here. Couple pulls of the steam engine, and then we'll go start on the log side of the mill, and we'll run right through the entire process. Short, quick little video. And this is where your lumber starts, right before it heads into the sawmill. We'll get this lumber put on the carriage. Here's that line shaft I was talking about earlier. You can see the multiple pulleys. This belt here runs back down to the edger. We'll show you a little bit of that here in a minute. These are some of the other pulleys that run the sawdust conveyor that get rid of the sawdust. Here's a fresh log on the carriage, and we'll follow this through, and hopefully we can give you a speedy version of logs to lumber. So these first couple of cuts here, we're getting rid of the lumber on the side of the log that is no good. We're trying to get into a flat surface where we can make our first board. So everything coming off here won't be used for waste. They'll trim it up and use it for fuel for the steam locomotives running the mill. So this first cut here will be our first board, and there's going to be what they call a live edge on this first board, but there is a piece of good lumber in there. The guy in the orange shirt going to send it down, and it's going to go to the edger, and we'll take the edges off of that piece, and we will use that. We'll show you that here in just a minute. Once we got a flat side on our log, they're going to roll it, and this is what they call squaring up the lumber, or squaring up the log, I should say. So this first piece coming off is not waste. We'll go down to a saw and we'll cut it and use it for fuel for the steam boilers. This next cut will be sent through the edger to get rid of that live edge to make a nice board out of. And while we are between cuts, please like, share, and subscribe. It greatly helps grow our channel. We appreciate your support. Alright, back to the other end here. The board that's going off will be firewood. The board coming off the mill right now that the guy in the orange shirt has is what we call a board with a live edge on it. They're going to take that and send it over through the edger. And you'll see what the edger does here in just a minute. I should have got a little closer view of that, but we're going to pull both live edges off that board. The live edges will either become stickers if they're flat enough or cut for firewood. And there's the board that comes off it, and there's the two stickers going over to be cut for firewood or used as stickers, which we'll show you that here in just a minute also. Here's another board for the edger. When I Talked about squaring up the log earlier. See, this board is just coming straight down and there's no live edges on it. That's why they square up the board, because once you get into the log, it'll just be nice lumber coming off. And it doesn't have to go through the edger. And this is where the scrap pieces go for firewood or cut into stickers.
The two-cylinder John Deere engine running a cut-off blade. We bring the slabs off of the head saw, and then we bring them through, we cut them up, and then that goes to our slab wood for the steam engines. The green wood helps with the coal to bring the temperature down in the firebox, or it helps when you're building up a fire. You build it with the wood first, then you can put your coal in second. Them are what's called stickers. We put that in between the lumber. It helps to allow air to come into the lumber, and it keeps them from twisting and warping.
Then they have this great sawdust conveyor that runs from underneath the mill to carry the sawdust out when you're cutting so it doesn't build up. This is run off that line shaft we've seen in the beginning of the video also. And then when you see a tractor drive by the mill, we just have way too much fun. We just thought we'd throw this in there. Cool, great tractor. One of the goals here with these short little videos is we hope it piques your interest enough where you'll go out and check out your local shows and maybe go learn a little bit more. We share just enough information with you to pique your interest. And if you haven't put a smile on somebody's face today, make sure you get out and do that. We sure hope we put a smile on your face. We hope you liked the video, and we will catch you next time on our next adventure. Take care, everybody.